That's really
Sorry, everyone here? Oh, we're waiting for
Charges in maybe a little while, so
by the time we've got through all this, it'll be
yeah.
Okay. Right. Let's make a start, folks. Welcome to the sandwich tolerance.
Going live.
We're live now, are we?
Going live. We're live.
Right, thank you. Welcome everyone to the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Finance Committee meeting held today on the 19th of November. It's now 6 minutes past 9. Let's move as quickly as we can through the agenda. First of all, the first item, are there any apologies for absence?
We have Councillor Carter, work commitment, and Councillor Marie, I think, work commitment.
Okay, thank you. Next item, 11.25.2, are there any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda? No? Excellent, okay. Third item, 11.25, 3 minutes of the Finance Committee, which are attachment 3A. Running through that, there are things that are not covered later on, but one thing I did notice, it doesn't say draft on it, so if we can, that will be resolved later. Okay, running through the previous minutes, any questions, any issues?
sorry, we haven't voted on the minutes, have we? Because I do have
No, because we're, there's some items that are on here that need to be discussed.
Yes, sorry, apologies. I have got some comments against the minutes from the previous meeting.
Excellent, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, I have got some, so should have them. So sorry about that, I was trying to open the file. STBF, it's got two Fs, 10/25/07.
25/7.
Yeah, around the action log.
Yes.
Property manager will give full updates on that. Car park rent money. Yes, sorry, I was just going, and I did mention it under the finance meeting as well. The money did arrive shortly after the meeting I had with the leader of DDC, so that was great. But we've got the lease on the car park running out early next year. So
End of January, I believe.
yeah, I've got a meeting next Monday with the leader and officers, and Councillor Mallet is coming with me on that. So that's that. Report regards other providers. I don't know whether Julian's able to...
I haven't, no, I haven't yet heard back from the provider.
So we've discussed that, so one
Got
of the...
information.
Yeah.
There's a report in the papers about car parking, and that you wanted to do some further investigation about providers. That seems to be
Correct, I'm actually in conversations now with people, yeah.
okay.
And is the further on the document regards the meeting with St Peter's Hall, did that happen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But there won't be an update on that particular moment. It's still live as far as that.
Yes, 3 of us went to that meeting, Clerk, the property manager, and myself.
Yeah.
Okay, we will get some updates on that.
Oh yes, certainly will. Yeah. Yeah. It will be mentioned in passing as well this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other? We're running through them very quickly. 5F under 25.5, and as said, I would find out the frequency of ancestry payments. That's because the student was doing a placement, and also there was some work on the St Clement's grades. That is ending. That is why you see in the budget there is a reduction in membership fees for various things. We've covered the car park and meeting at St Peter's. 7C is that we have now liaised with Advantage. We sent them a letter to ask a number of issues. They have responded. Given the time factor, the finance officer and the town clerk and myself are going to meet as soon as we can in early December, and then we will find a date to speak to Advantage about what they provide for us and what they don't provide any glitches, particularly on the charity side of their software. Okay. Partial exemption for VAT, that's in December.
Yeah.
That's going to be covered, fine, okay. If we look at 10.25.6, I did ask why we were spending so much on car parking for the museum staff. It turns out that normally they buy car park permits from DDC. There has been a delay, and that's why they've had to directly reimburse a number of staff. I spoke to Millie about that. I'm satisfied with that at the moment. 2507, you've got an update on the Empire Cinema later, and this is a situation that has changed quite a bit over the past 2 or 3 weeks.
It has.
Yeah, in fact, we've got some better costs for that. Are there any other points people want to make about minutes?
Propose we accept.
Okay, seconder please. Councillor Pennington. Unanimous?
Yeah.
Thank you. Next we have public participation. 20-minute session set aside for members of the public to make representations with respect to the business. Are there any requests for public participation?
No.
Right, okay. Then we move on to payment schedules, which is attachment 5. Now I think we've got so many attachments because there have been issues with the accounting software. I would propose that we take 5A, 5B and 5C together and a vote on them. Are there any issues arising from the payment schedules for Guildhall, Tollbridge Fund and Museum?
Yeah, well, there's one on the bank reconciliation statement.
Oh, that's D, E and F, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we can certainly come back to that, yeah. A, B and C, any?
No.
Proposal?
Propose that we,
Councillor Chuka, seconder. I'll second it. Can we have a vote, please? Is that unanimous? Yes. The next ones are the Guildhall bank account reconcile statement, the Tollbridge Fund reconcile statement, and the museum bank account reconcile statement. Councillor Green, you had a question on one of these.
Yes, on the Tollbridge Fund, on the 19th of September, there was a payment of £791 to KCC pensions. Now, it was my understanding from our previous discussions that all payments in relation to staff were made from STC, not from the Tollbridge Fund. So I would question that payment.
That's a cost that needs to be reimbursed. It doesn't happen very often, but it was to do with, we had a late change of 2 staff started after we ran the payroll, and we did a rushed final payment to put them on the payroll, and that's the reason why it happens. It was a very last minute thing. It was when the town clerk joined, and also when Adrian joined, and it happened just after we'd already run payroll, and so we had to rush it through to make sure it was done. It was entirely my mistake. It is a reimbursement that means requiring to come back from the other side.
No, Chris, no problem.
No.
It's just
No, you're right, that's the whole point of questions. Any other points? Okay, could I have a proposal, please? Councillor Pennington, seconder. Councillor Wiles. Unanimous? Yes. Okay. And then 5G, H and I, which are the cash books for Guildhall, Tollbridge and Museum. Any questions, any queries? Okay. Can I propose it, please? I'll propose that. Seconder, please. Councillor Chuka. All in favour? Thank you. the Quilter Cheviot report is item 5J. Just important to note, monthly return of 4.1%, the rolling annual return 14.6%. And we also were given a very helpful comparator by the interim finance officer last month. Are there any questions or concerns on the Quilter Cheviot at this meeting? Okay. I'll propose seconded Councillor Green. Right. Thank you. Right. Okay then. Then we have budget variances report. 6A. That's the Tollbridge Fund. Any budget variances report people want to raise? 6B. And 6C. Everyone happy with that? Right. Propose that we accept all three items. The second, please.
And we're approving them as well.
We are approving them, yes. Unanimous, thank you.
Who was seconding, sorry?
Right, then we have the priorities there, terms of reference status, and the action log. Now, a number of items on the action log we've covered already, but let's go back onto that slide and just try and find the action log.
So I did this for, sorry, is it right if I talk?
Yes, please do.
I did this on behalf of the RFO, and we did it together. I think most of it we've really covered. We've just talked about advantage, and we're going to meet at the beginning of December to see where we are with it and what we want to do going forward. The DDC money is paid, but we've got the new contract coming up. We talked about that, and then the team's meeting for tax VAT situation is in early December.
Okay, thank you. Are we happy to receive the report?
Yeah.
Proposed, I'll propose it.
Seconded.
Councillor Tucker seconding. Unanimous, thank you. Second B is the update from the property manager. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so Empire Cinema.
Yeah.
So I say it's been it's been a lot of things happening in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but this is the latest. This is the latest situation. What I'm asking, please, for you to look at relocating the £6,000 that was in the budget for a feasibility study, which was going to be removing the ceiling at what we call the secret room. So that wasn't going to be feasible because it would have actually taken away a fire exit or the fire route, and it would have been extremely expensive. So I'm looking to transfer that budget over to be able to finalise and get the last work completed with the fire dampers in the building. So I've had a couple of meetings there. It's going to need, it does need work, it needs the dampers put in. There's a question mark over additional dampers in, further to the ones that we are actually talking about in the ceiling on the auditorium and the secret room. I knew that, well, I was hoping it wouldn't need to be done. I got a consultant in and they have confirmed in writing that that part doesn't need to be done. I haven't had to get the section drawings, the 1 to 50 drawings, the mechanical and electrical drawings, so we've saved money on that side as well. But we still have an expense. The tenant cannot afford to do this final work. I've had meetings with him. He's able to go up to pay up to £1,000 for the electrical aspect of that job. So that's where we're at. I don't really know what else to add. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of effort, but that's what I'm here for. So although there is a cost, we have we are in a better position than we would have done if I'd just gone ahead with absolutely everything, all the drawings and the rest of it.
So Julian, can I ask, so my understanding of this is you just want to move a budget from one plot to another of the existing budget, but it's also subject to the tenant agreeing to pay £1,000.
Correct.
Now, what's the position of the tenant? Has he agreed to do
He
that?
has agreed to that. He has agreed to that. Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I'm happy to propose we accept this movement in the budget.
Just have a question, is it within the terms of reference that this committee can agree for it to be moved, or is this a recommendation to the full trustee?
But this is an existing budget item,
Yeah,
and
but it's-
transfers within a budget,
No, we're moving it from one budget line to another budget line, is that right?
but it's
On the same
It
property.
is, but it's on the same property,
Same property.
so it's defined as one particular expense,
Yes.
but it's still for the cinema.
So I would suggest that this, in this case, because it is transfer within one budget line, that is acceptable. Are you?
I would agree with you, you know, it's not that, it's additional monies, it's monies that's already been allocated to, and when it was allocated, it was an estimate done in best interest at the time, so
Okay.
I support you.
Thank you. Councillor Wiles?
I mean, just a marker for the longer term, because I spoke to Julian about this earlier. The cinema is on a lease where the tenant is responsible for everything to do with the property. We're currently spending a lot more on the property than we're receiving in rent. And so we need to bear that in mind for the future. I mean, we are doing a favour in effect, but in terms of the lease, it's from what I can read in the lease, it's a full repairing lease, where the tenant is responsible for everything to do with that property.
Well,
This is correct, sorry.
yeah, this is my position that I've stated at this meeting before. This is a safety issue, and the work needs doing to keep the building safe,
Yeah, sure.
because ultimately it will come back to the town council, and that's why this money is being spent. Otherwise, close the place down.
It's another property where we're receiving less than we're paying.
This is something that needs to be addressed in the longer term. Unfortunately, it wasn't addressed at all in the past, is my understanding. We're now having to pick up 20 years of nothing being done. I'd like to commend the property manager on the diligence with which she's done this, and the fact that we're able to make some significant safety improvements within a fairly short period of time, because it's something, I heaven forfend that something happens and we have a fire.
Yeah.
This is a much better situation we are in now. But you're right to raise the issue, and there needs to be a longer term discussion.
Oh, definitely.
Did I get something? How long is the lease? Is the lease for?
25, 50,
Yeah.
For another 25.
25
Another
years, 24
20
years, yeah.
2050.
Yeah.
Right. But
Can he assign the lease?
Yes, he would be able to.
Mhm.
He would be able to assign it,
I think it's a
yeah.
discussion.
With permission, but you wouldn't normally be able to withhold, hold to he could. Yeah. I appreciate that the future, and this is why on one of my previous reports, he's obviously doing his Empire Cinema Club, and that's to review it everything in April at the end of his run of his club, and really then sit down and have a conversation about the property. But at this stage, it is very much safety driven.
I hate to say it, but we probably need legal advice on this
Certainly,
lease.
we do
Well,
have a.
in the budget, there is a certain request for legal advice for every building, is there not?
I have got it on that one actually. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first. You've got a number of other items in your report. Do you want to cover all of them, or do people
Yes.
want to vote on each item?
No, it's just a recommendation.
Just
Please
a-
accept my recommendation to move the 6,000 subject to the tenant agreeing to pay 1,000.
Yeah, which he's agreed to do. So I'll go back to him and then get that in writing. Like last time when he agreed to do the monitoring service and pay for the guarantees on the service charge. Sorry, the service agreement, which he did. So we have a monitoring service that he paid for. So
So
it's the same principle.
I propose that we accept that point. I'd like a seconder, please. Councillor Pennington, all in favour? Yeah. The next item you've got, Gillian, is car park.
Car park, yes. So, it's car park. Okay, so as we know, the lease is coming up towards the end of January. So we've had the payments from the 24 to 25, and the previous year the 23-24. So we know that the income has actually gone down. On one part and has gone up on the other, because we get the money, we receive the money from the pay and display for both of those car parks, the whole Guildhall, not just one section. And we receive, sorry?
Percentage of?
39%.
69%.
Yeah, once the expenditure's taken off. So yeah, you have the figure for the whole amount plus off-street parking. And then they obviously got the expenditure, so that's gone up. The expenditure has gone up quite considerably. So that is the main sort of factor, is their cost of their operations and enforcement, but they don't separate that. So I am speaking with companies at the moment, but we're going to run out of time to go and do anything before January. Realistically, we're not going to be able to get any other provider. So what I'm asking would be that we look at we need a new agreement with DDC, but not something that's going to tie it up for 5 years, 10 years, or 25 years, which is probably what they would like. And that is to do a 12-month lease from the 22nd of January, and that gives us 12 months to then really look at this car park. What's it really going to cost if we do it ourselves, and what incentives that we can offer local businesses as well. We can keep control of it. So to me, it's the financial, but it's also the control that where we will be able to set the different price, set the figures. So for me, that's what I think I'm saying at this stage is, can we do a 12-month lease? We don't want to be doing any more. Keep control, and during that time, nothing will change. All I would ask from them is, rather than getting a year's time to then receive the money, can we have at the 6 month stage, not necessarily for the money, but can we have a breakdown of exactly what that is cost? Because we're a year out before we even realise. And I also would like to look at the figures, because they give the figures for the whole car park. Can they break that down so we can see what our section is bringing, what their section is bringing, and also how many parking permits they have in each, for that can be used in that area. Because we receive the parking permits, because we receive an income on the whole lot, if we can park in Grays and Salts, if I'm pointing in the right direction, we would receive money from that. So we really need to sort of break it down. Now we may look at it and think the actual best option is to keep it with them. It may be that, but I think until we have a look, find out some information, but at the same time run it through another, 3 or 4 providers I'm in contact with, and to see where we're at. But to me, it's been able to keep control. And when I was out, I was saying to Mr. Mayor the other day, I had 4 people, just like walking around counting the parking spaces. I really wondered what I was doing. 4 people have come up to me about it, talking about this car park. And I think it's quite interesting, and actually 2 are from the doctor's surgery. So that's where I'm at. So I haven't got a huge amount of report. I have given the figures of what we're getting, what we've received in the past. Up to 2023-24, we never received any breakdown at all. It was only when I spoke with Karen before, I said, I'd just like to know, and that's when we started to get it, to receive it. So before then, we just had an end of the year figure.
Okay.
So that's what I would ask.
I would just, can I just say also to do that, because one of the things is phenomenally higher is the enforcement costs, and we have no visibility on that, and we don't know how many vehicles are using the car park, and their machines do. So there's possibly some information we can gather from them also, which will help your your process of looking at different operations
Yeah.
going forward.
Well, in terms of the enforcement then, if they issue tickets, do we get any of the revenue from the tickets?
That's it,
No,
that's
no.
the question.
I'll come on to a couple of proposals
Yeah.
on this, but first a question, Councillor Wiles, and then a Councillor Angus, I think.
Yeah, I mean, car parking, it's part of the discussions we're having with EDC about, you know, the assets, and clearly parking is a major issue in the town. And
Yes.
It's potentially a thing that could, you know, if we took control of it, we could potentially stimulate a, you know, much better offer for our retail and hospitality sectors if we controlled it by offering reduced rates or hours free parking.
Free
all these
parking
kind
in
of
the
things.
mornings,
So my idea is retro, going back in time, having a man or a woman with the old leather satchel. We'd create a job or two jobs. It would be really cost effective. There would be no you know, loss of income, because every single person who parked there would be required to pay. Let's think about it.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Councillor Anderson.
My worry is that these car parking firms
Yes.
are notoriously inhumane.
They are.
And this is a car park where ill people park.
Yes.
So I do see those two aspects as contradictory, and that's a worry.
So on that side, there would be the possibility then. So when I've looked at the figures, there's 111 spaces there. So when I first went, I was looking at 100 spaces. So there are spaces that we could provide outside of any agreement with a provider, which is what I'd like to do, because we're paying for parking at the moment for staff. So a couple of spaces for there, you know, we could have, so we could work it round. We don't give them the whole car park, we can give a particular area, but yeah, they
So
are
there would be-
notoriously
So
challenging.
what you're saying is that there could be spaces just for the medical.
Absolutely, yes.
How you enforce that is a different matter, and I think that's the huge
Yeah,
problem.
but there is, but I'm not sure I could get too many people excited watching the film now.
But presumably the inhumanity springs from the fact that the car parking companies are making a percentage from the revenue.
Correct. Yeah, they make about 20-25%.
It's just, you know, we talk about gaining control, and we may actually be handing control to a company that's not interested in why people are parking
I
there.
don't think we could be any worse position than we are now, with the not being able to control the prices and not being able to offer incentives to people coming into the town. And other councils have done it, it's worked very well.
Yeah, in fact, one of the discussions in asset transfer was it was something like New Romney were looking up to take over the car park, as you recall.
Yes, well, in fact, I suggested that we should get car parks, but I hadn't thought of having one of these companies running it.
That's only one option. We could do it, as Councillor Wiles says, we could do something, we could combine it with someone who's looking after the toilet work as well. We could do things.
You get much more income because there's someone there all the time.
Yeah.
So many people park, you know, on the off chance they'll not be charged.
Impossible. Right, any other questions about, can I summarise them, please? You're going to, you need some time to do some further analysis. I think it would be very useful, rather than waiting for 6 months to ask a lot more detail about where their costs are. I take the point that John has also made about are these costs really cost across the whole of Sandwich, or just this car park?
Exactly.
And can we also get a share of the moolah, please? And to take note of the fact that there are a number of options. We don't have to go down any particular option
Correct.
at the moment,
That's right.
be it a private company, be it our own staff, be it some other way of handling it.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to propose that. Can I get a seconder for that, please?
What's the proposal? Sorry.
The proposal that Julie comes back with a report as soon as possible, but specifically we ask for more information about the costs. We also ask for a 12-month extension, a 12-month lease,
That's right.
which we'd need to have because it runs out very quickly
Yes.
before the next meeting. And we also take note of the comments that have been made by Councillor Wiles and Councillor Anderson.
happy to go with that. I've got every confidence in Julian to negotiate a good deal for Sandwich in respect of this and to report back appropriately.
Okay,
So
that's unanimous.
Julian will not be doing the negotiation, so just need to be aware of that. So what the proposal should be is that we are supporting the principle that we should seek, so this is general, seek a lease for a 12-month period.
Thank you for the correction. Okay. On that basis, we're still.
So seek or negotiate a 12 months.
Seek to negotiate.
Seek to negotiate.
Because the first question is, we want to seek to negotiate a 12-month lease, and the answer might be over our dead bodies. Possibly.
Yeah.
And then it gives us the answer.
Or it might be a handshake and say yes, of course.
Has it been a funny handshake or a? All right, moving on, we've got Guildhall hire charges.
A vote that we,
Guildhall hire charges, we've asked for, to, wait for a report from.
Yes.
Yes.
suppose we note.
Note, yeah.
Shall we note that?
Second.
Fine. Can I have second councillor Anderson? Right, thank you. Right, moving on as quick as we can. Don't be too long.
Are you ready, John?
Sorry?
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's have a, John, you ready? You.
Silly, it's very well.
Shall we just start?
Yeah.
Let me talk us through this.
Okay.
We've got three divisions of this. We've got STBF, we've got Guildhall Museum. So the first one is straight STBF, yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
So STBF, there's obviously not there's far less going on in that particular element of the STBF. We have the car park rents that are coming in, and we are showing pretty much in line with what we've been getting the last 2 years. We had 33 and then 30, but obviously the costs is something that's gone up, so we need to look at that. We have the rents that come in from the sports centre and the cinema. Now we're showing a small uplift on this, but we are pushing for rent reviews on these items. But I know the cinema's far more of a challenge, but that's taking place at the moment. But there's no substantial movement now.
Could I just ask on the tennis club loan,
Yes.
has that not been completed?
I-
It has.
Is my question now, because again, this is me coming in not knowing what the situation is
I
here.
think that has been paid off, but
I do too.
Yeah.
So basically, there was £2,000 shown as outstanding in the 24 accounts, and that would have meant that, as I understand it, £1,000 would have come in 25, and then £1,000 in next year.
Okay.
Now, if it came in as £2,000, that's fine. But I don't know, and I'm not aware of anything that's come in against it, because there's nothing being recorded on that.
Okay.
So I didn't know what the setup was. If we think that it's come in, then we need to talk to them and just see when that perhaps took place. But I didn't know what that income line was, because it's nothing coming this year so far.
Okay, so that's a point to clarify. Yeah, that was one of the action points. Okay.
We've got nominal rent notes that are coming on a rights of way. Again, this is something that I'm only becoming familiar with at the moment, so I need to get involved with that. So, one of the people I think just pays by cash and the other one pays on invoice. So that is something that I will get involved with to chase that up. And then we've got
For the Cheviot, you're proposing no change in the drawdown. Well, yes, a very small reduction in the drawdown from 65.3 to 65.
Yeah.
So major changes in investments. Could you explain that?
Yes. So it's in the interest. So the proposal here is that at the moment we've been doing the arrangement has been to transfer between STC and STBF all the time for every movement that takes place for the costs. Now, the running costs of STBF, the payroll running costs, is something that has to be funded, and it's partly funded by drawing down on the investment, and partly funded by a contribution, we could argue, that comes across from STC. However we want to word it, there is money that moves to STBF from STC, and there is a drawdown on investments. If we, because STBF doesn't actually pay any payroll, the idea is that we bring in a management charge, which we spoke about on the other accounts, and we can accrue that as we go through the year and not physically pay it for as long as possible, rather than doing it each month. We've done that this year, and by doing that, it means that the interest has significantly increased on the investments, and that is why you're looking at in the half year to date 35,000 against the budget of 48,000 for the whole year. So we are targeting 70,000. I'm not suggesting that we can do any more than that, and speculating any more than that. But by just taking that approach, it means that our money can work harder for us, and we can use it in a better way, a more productive way, rather than continually always drawing and everyone being frustrated because our asset just stays the same. It just means it works.
Sorry, for me on this, Quilter Cheviot give us an estimated income, and that's what has kind of been driving it. In the report that we've just approved, the estimated income is 62,000. Now this year has been a good year. There's no guarantee that we'll get 60,000 next year.
No.
Last year we got, or this year we're budgeting on 48,000 as
baseline.
As kind of the baseline. But I'm nervous about depending upon them giving a £70,000 dividend next year, and I would suggest that's reduced to 60.
Any comments?
I agree.
Additional points on that? Yeah, I must admit, I was a little bit sceptical of it as high as 70, but so the proposal is to reduce that to 60 with. Okay.
And I completely agree. It could be argued that there's been a lot of negative things happening in the market this year with the whole Trump effect and things like that, and it has certainly kept the rate down. But I think it's better to be prudent.
FTSE is up, but you know, I would think we should be looking at the deposit interest-bearing accounts, because this council's still holding quite a bit of money, and if you've got 1%, it could be, you know, £5,000–7,000 kind of a year. Excuse me.
Another proposal that I wanted to put forward is that we don't operate 3 separate bank accounts for the 3 separate elements here. 3 bank accounts, when you had a manual accounting system, was very important. It was security, it backed up what you were doing. But it doesn't represent anything. What represents these elements is their profit and the bottom line. And if we were to reduce down the bank accounts to 1 bank account, what that would do for the charity, what that would do is that would mean that we wouldn't have 3 sets of bank charges. We wouldn't have monies moving between them because we think, oh, we've paid that on behalf of that one. It's all one charity. And the other reason behind that is that we would have 1 account that looks after all of the money up to the
Oh, the 80,000.
Yeah, the 80,000, which is
Which
increasing next
is
year.
about to be increased, yes.
It's increasing in January, so that is going up. And so it would, we could actually have an account which looks at money up to a certain point that we need to have in there, but have a facility whereby it's interest earning for anything over a certain amount. It's far easier to manage than it is to manage 3 individual accounts, because you can see what the funds are and just sweep it over. It's never doing anything other than moving between the accounts.
Well,
And the only discussion then is whether it's high interest earning.
as far as I'm concerned, this is option 1. It's just one of the aspects of option 1.
Of
The
Improve
options 1, 2 or 3.
Oh, I see, yeah, I thought, I
Relationship
just wanted to
between
confirm
Tollbridge.
that. I thought, just typically, then what's the bank charge per account, very roughly, John? What are they?
What are bank charges? It does vary quite a bit, but overall I think it's 3. So in I think we are showing in here. It's not significant. We're talking sort of
£15 a month or something.
yeah,
like that.
£15 a month for each of the accounts. It's not massive amounts of money.
We're talking about 700 quid.
Yeah.
For 2 accounts.
3 accounts.
3 accounts, okay. Well, there go an awful lot.
But it's
Oh,
also the administration of moving things.
It's a contribution, and it would also improve the way we manage our internal business.
Right, for the Tollbridge Fund last month, the bank charges were £19 and 41 pence
So
for
20
the
quid,
month.
so 240 a year. The other questions about that, and so Quilter Cheviot was suggesting a reduce to 60. 60 we said? Yes. Or did we say 65? 60.
60.
60 we said.
Yeah, 60.
Right, okay.
There was a general discussion also taking place on interest and looking at our banking situation.
Yeah.
And I know that's part of the bigger picture. And it's just about making money work better.
Yeah, sorry, the other point I would make is that we've been drawing down £65,000 of the investments, partly because we've been giving out grants. The proposal with Maddox going forward is that it's not going to be giving out grants, so in many respects we should be looking to reducing the amount of drawdown from the capital investment within the Tollbridge Fund.
Typically what we were spending on the grants, 20k? 10k.
Well,
The last one was 10k, but before that I think it was much more generous.
yeah,
Yeah, 20.
varied.
It varied.
But of course, if you do draw it down, poor Julian is not going to have as much money as he wants or would like for properties. But I think we should kind of consider it, even if it's just reducing it by £5,000, just to show that things have changed.
Comments, any views?
Well, my view would be that when we go to the full meeting of STBF, we need to be explicit about a decision on grant
Yes.
giving, so it doesn't just get.
No, it needs to be explicit.
Yeah.
Okay. Carrying on, so what we've said is on the income stream we've got going to be 60,000, but anything else on that? Right. So if we look on the expenses, the expenditures please.
So on the expenditure side of things, again, we are looking at the same exercise here where payroll is being replaced by a management charge.
Yeah.
And in the same way, we will look at it. I'd like us to look at the whole group for the payroll costs in a minute, rather than just the individual one, because it will make more sense in a minute.
I think we've discussed the payroll. It's obvious the overall payrolls come down. So
You can see, I'm just saying on the group, you can see that it covers
Yeah,
itself.
because so I'd be content with that. Will all others be content if we looked at payroll across the 3?
Right, makes sense.
Okay, we'll do that. Let's run through the other.
It's also so subjective as well, but I mean, we can still pick up the detail.
Yeah.
Okay,
In that
so
group.
sorry for me, the next one is on the contingencies. We've taken out the 25,000 for the government reorganisation, so we should do the same here.
Yes.
And in terms of the repairs and maintenance, that's gone up from 16 to 39,000. And again, Julian, that's your...
Yeah, and there are things on here that even since producing this document, I can actually coming down rather than going up.
By how much?
Did anyone receive this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can just quickly go through it. I've taken out other ones even before this one. So okay. So on the just going back to the Empire Cinema, the electrical is 2,000. So we crossed the 2,000 out on there. Okay. Legal fees, always leave those in. I've got enhancements. Well, I think we've done enough enhancing there, so we take the 10,000 out. St Peter's Hall and Day Hall. Now, as landlords, we're responsible for electrical work in properties at the beginning, during, and at the end of a lease. So I've had an inspection that's taken place. As you see, I've got 5,000 on there. It passes. You have different grades. C1 is if it's something that needs to be done immediately. C2 is a strong recommendation. Okay, we've got a lot of C2s there. We've got no C1s. So I would bring that down to £2,000.
Reduction of 3,000.
3,000 down. Alarm system, I actually met the fire alarm system. That is actually the tenant's responsibility. He's the responsible person under the Fire Safety Act, not the landlord on that. So
Do they know that?
they do know that. They do know that. Yeah, they do know that. But at this stage, it wouldn't be. I've actually met at the a fire alarm company, not there, but we've discussed it. I would leave that figure in at this stage. Legal fees, £3,000. I would take that down to 2,000 on that side. Okay. Enhancements are not applicable. The white mill. So the situation we have now, we are responsible to do the EICR report. And again, we could find a situation where, so that's £1,000 to do a report for them to go and check it. It's £1,000, but we don't know what the outcome will, would be. That lease started that was 1981. That was actually before the Landlord Act of 1985. But you are still responsible for the electrics, even if we didn't mention it in the initial lease. So I would say we keep the 4,000 in there. Legal fees, look, it's still in the name of DDC, but really, to be honest, well, so what? What are we going to do? Change it into it's not anything's going to happen. We're not going to do anything else with it in the future. So I would take that out for next
So
year.
that's 50 now. Sorry?
1,500 off.
1,500.
Yeah.
Then
And I've already taken Market Street out.
sorry, what did you take out from Market Street?
I had something. It was only really legal if we were going to challenge it and actually try to get get it transferred into our name. So
that wasn't in the figure you gave me.
that wasn't anything anyway. Sorry, no, that was in. Yeah, I've already stripped this down by quite a bit before we got to this stage.
About 21,500. Okay,
21.5.
instead of 39.
Yeah.
And I'd take a lot off that before we even
You
got
have,
there.
I think, but are you in danger of cutting it to the bone?
No.
So you'd be
No,
happy
it's
with, I'd say the 22,000, let's move it down.
Yeah.
Keep it as a round figure? Okay,
Does that have any impact on the STC side by doing that? Or is that all contained
It
within
does,
Okay.
because the amount that's coming across could be reduced down, and that's the whole argument. And I think we're creating a situation whereby we had that 166 coming over. That if we work towards 130, back towards there by the savings we make, we'll see what we get to at the end, and we'll juggle the figures and see what comes out there.
So please just summarise for us what we've said for this particular one, which is the toll bridge fund. What changes have you got noted, please?
So the changes we've got that I've got reduced to the to this particular one is we're saving £2,000, £10,000. Just go for it. £2,000, £10,000, £3,000,
£1,000.
sorry,
Then £1,000.
£1,000, yeah, and then 1,500.
1,500. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
So that's a reduction of the 39 down to 21,500.
You said 22, just.
Yeah.
Plenty.
It's only because it ties up to that report. That's why I left it out. Yeah.
You haven't reduced the Quilter Cheviot from 70.
No, I haven't. I made a note of it rather than that, so I'll do that now.
All right, so that's quite a.
No, it's not.
Sorry, I've just done wrong.
I don't think we agreed to.
It's the investment,
It's
not
the
the drawdown.
investment, so
The-
that should
The
stay at
investment.
65.
Sorry, yeah, sorry. All right.
And that should reduce to 60.
60, down to 60. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
what for that?
now,
Next one,
within,
please.
within the overhead said, there's not a great deal going on. The insurance, we've just got like what we expect the increase to be.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else substantial in there in those costs other than the payroll costs.
Yeah.
And then movements amongst
Okay.
the three businesses, which is complicated.
And we need to look at the other ones before we
Yeah.
come back to check.
Again,
Sure.
when we yeah. So looking at the
Guildhall.
Guildhall, and we have.
Quite an increase in hire charges.
So we have one of the proposals is a £10,000 marketing and refresh in the contingencies on the bottom line. I think it's the very last line now. One of the ideas is that we can really grow the wedding incomes, and that is representing part of what we've done. If you look at what we did in the year to date, it's for half a year we did 26. So we're going to, we're not really going to achieve what the budget was, but the team are very confident that that with the new team in place, that they can actually drive the income line for this and push things up, such as weddings and other bookings within the building, and that is the reason behind that.
So that's the reason for the 12k increase in hire income.
Yes.
But that would cost us 10k. Sorry.
Can I say also, sort of, it's all about actually the way these sort of major events. If you're a bride, very few brides, or the majority of brides, won't be looking at this summer.
No.
So money spent now will really accrue in 27.
Yes. And of course we've got a bit of more expertise in weddings now, haven't we? Any comments?
Well, I do know that the previous regime, before a whole lot of new councillors came in, did try to increase the wedding income. And there was, they rejigged the website and did all sorts of things which were wedding orientated, and didn't work too well.
So if I'll leave it initially. Part of this is down to the person that we have coming in to actually do this job, and that's Paige. Her experience is in that area, whereas Chloe was very much.
Well, it wasn't Chloe, I'm talking pre-Chloe.
Oh right, okay. But this is her background, and there's a lot of confidence that that's what she can drive because that's what she comes from.
Yeah.
Is that fair? thing?
I've worked in catering, weddings and events in the past. I used to be a caterer for 10 years. I think it's very feasible that, given it's a very keenly priced offering at the moment, and given the keenly priced nature of the offering, I think you could do a bit on the pricing, and I think you definitely drive volume with a bit of marketing.
Even with increased pricing.
There's a balance. Paige is currently working on a report that she's going to bring to F&GP hopefully in December. If you go, She's working, she just didn't have time with Remembrance Service and the nature of this meeting to do that, but she's doing a lot of research into comparable venues, comparable marketing costs, ways to do that, social media strategies. It's all part of the thing she's putting together a piece of work.
Do you know what the profit is on a typical, the full package wedding?
Here,
Yeah, when all
Yeah, so
it's marginal.
I would say not it was before. It was costing us more than it was to actually do a wedding for. It was about £600. They had the whole hall. Now it's £1,500. I would say it cost us in the region of 700 to deliver a wedding, basically.
so a wedding you get 800 grand profit.
800, yeah.
800 profit.
Yes, yeah.
Can I just add one word of caution of the number of wedding venues that have gone bust in the past year?
Yes.
And that is a factor that we need to.
But we're a higher service. They've been offering the whole package, and they're more exposed than we are. So our exposure to that, as long as we don't start trying, to creep and becoming a whole venue and doing that absolutely everything.
Okay, so 12,000 increase we think in.
So I'll just add to that, also there's considerations around doing like two-tiering pricing for more people outside of the area. So we still support the people who are local, so that we are still that community place that everyone comes to who are local. So that there's a lot of considerations that have been spoken about, and they've all been looked at to look at how we might take it forward. But I'm quite sure that there'll be healthy uplifts with it.
This is another reason why Julian's not been able to come forward with higher
Yeah.
the Guildhall rent increase proposal. It's sort of all part of having to think about it really, and want to do it properly.
Okay, so on the income stream, any further questions or points on the income stream or proposed income stream?
I'll just explain that the indoor market shows very low here, and that's because it's showing on the other side at the moment. That is a little bit of that's where we split revenues. So it's not showing particularly good at the moment there. And to go against that, the Guildhall tours is something that I know you think is got a lot of potential for growth.
Yeah, I'm working with someone at the moment.
With Terry.
But no, someone we can make money out of.
Thank you.
For the on something similar. So can I just clarify one? Do you mind clarifying one point, John, for me, please? The indoor market, that's not the hub, is it?
No.
So the hub goes into that 20.
So the hub, that's the other thing, is the top line where we're showing that income for. Thank you for reminding me. Where we've got the top line for the Guildhall hire charges.
Yeah.
There is no definition within the current system, and we need to define it more and show more different lines.
Different businesses.
Yeah, and one of the huge successes has been the hub space, because that is generating income on itself. There's no overheads that you get with the rest of it. I mean, there's not.
But
It's not. We haven't got security most of the time involved with that, which is the big cost.
What is the indoor market? What are we referring to?
I think it's antiques.
It's the share of the antique, so it's.
Yeah, I thought it was, but I just
Sorry, Chair, the other thing we've discussed in the past is filming in terms of revenue streams.
So
The courtroom, fantastic as a filming venue, something Page should maybe
yes.
look at.
But is that not to a certain extent driven by ad hoc? Because
You can promote it.
I think we need to move on. It's 5 past
I think we
6.
need to move on. Okay.
Yeah.
Carrying on. Anything on the costs of the
So there's
Well, sorry, can I just say immediately, when you look at that now, the income at 286,000 budgeted exceeds the costs by £19,477. So, we've got flexibility to reduce that income and the charges, the cross charges, to elsewhere, just before we interrogate. And I've kind of had a quick look down all of those, and I think they're all kind of reasonable for where we should be at this stage, but I think we need to get that in balance.
Yeah, the only thing that we have there is again the repairs and maintenance, which is 2,900, which is 20,900, and that's separate properties, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think we've punish Julian or
Yeah.
he's been very generous with it.
It was just whether what you needed
The
to
big
do.
thing is the marketing and refresh in there.
Yeah.
You know, whether, and that's a decision kind of for me, the council to go ahead, but other than that, I think we should move on. That's the decision that's made, and come back at the end of the day then, John, to see how you can reduce the STC contribution from 160,000
Yes.
and the STBF contribution of 45,000.
Okay.
So just quickly on marketing and refresh, that is a new expenditure.
Yeah.
So what are we going to get for the trustee to say they're happy to support that? Is that the page reports?
You priced, it was basically, repainting the interior hall, which I think looks a
Yeah.
bit.
This meeting can't make that
No,
decision.
no,
so-
I know,
yeah.
but for the 10,000, basically, you said the repainting was 6.5, wasn't it?
I
Or
did,
7.5?
on my one for the Guildhall, I did everything, then I stripped that down to the main hall.
No, I think the question is not the detail of how we're going to do it, it's the question of what return do we get from that, and I think that primarily is in higher charges. We said you're going to have an increase in higher charges of
No,
12.
my question is about governance. So a report needs to be put, so we can't just agree a budget for STBF where 10,000 sits in there and it goes through. You have to get a report that says actually this is a new cost and the trustee is happy to.
Is recommended.
That we're working on that.
It needs to have the business case.
Yeah.
That's what it's really saying. What's the business case behind this additional expenditure?
Subject to that is that staying in at the moment, the 10K. Subject to that.
It's difficult to answer, isn't it?
Well,
We have got rattle room in terms of between today and when the budget has to be signed off. So,
Yeah.
Yes,
So it
it's-
stays at the moment then. Any other questions then about Guildhall?
Just going back to Peter's comments about the difference between the income and expenditure, were you saying to make them balanced, and therefore that has a consequence for STC? Is that
That's the point.
Yeah, I don't want to lose that point.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay.
Museum.
The first set of figures there is for the museum, and these figures were provided for me by Millie, who lives and breathes the museum.
Yeah.
So these are the costs that she supplied to me. I haven't done any amendment to it, but the only thing of any substantial thing in there is that she's got expenditure of 7,800, which is coming from external funding. And so I don't think anything else
I
there
think
is.
that's straightforward.
Yeah.
I think it's straightforward, and I'd just like to say I'm very pleased to see it because we haven't had a proper budget for the museum before. So thank you very much, Jeff.
Well,
And Millie.
it's Millie.
Millie has been doing it, and she, I think, the fact that there's clarity and working with John, I think, is extremely helpful. I think we need to emphasise that.
Yeah.
But I spoke to Millie this morning, and she's very content with this. Sorry, Councillor Anderson.
I just want, because it is rather striking, this STBF museum, I'm sure it's just an administrative change, but suddenly we've gone from 0 to 50.
Yes, and that's, if you look below the line, there's also expenditure for staff costs.
Yeah.
And it's effectively how we're taking the staff costs and allocating them more accurately to the different cost centres. It, overall, as a charity, when we look at the group of it, you'll see that it's no different, but it's just split differently, and that's the only thing.
That's what threw me when I first read it.
Councillor Anderson, it's that the museum staff member should be in the museum budget.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about the museum?
One thing, John, please, so under the museum, the maintenance, I've covered that within my document for the Guildhall, doesn't need to be
Yes.
repeated.
The Guildhall looks after the maintenance of the building for every tenant and for every, for everything else. So,
So it wouldn't necessarily need to be there if that.
No.
Moving on quickly, so we want to look at the staff costs across all three of those budgets. And that's still what you wanted to do?
Well, yeah, we don't want to do that tonight. I think because we've already discussed the staff costs, we've accepted that Julian's made suggestions to bring the overall number down, but we want to have a look at the staff costs for the current year to make sure, and that was the AFC, the anticipated final cost, as part of the half-year review exercise that we discussed about 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the,
We don't need to, I don't think we need to discuss
That's
That's
fine.
fine, I was just picking up what I heard you say, okay.
so although I have a report which is all three of them brought together, there's probably a little purpose. I know that we need to look at the contribution going across, but I would like, if I could, to go through and check all the figures, to rejig them.
Oh, yes.
I don't want to make mistakes and say, because I've done something somewhere and then find that I haven't picked it up in the full
Yeah.
picture.
Yep.
So I imagine that there's going to be a fair change
Yes, it
throughout,
will be.
which will look a lot better. So that's what I need the time to do, and I'll obviously do that.
Yeah, and if time gets, because I haven't got the dates in my head, I assume there is a F&GP and STBF finance meeting in January ahead of the full council meeting in terms of the STC budget. So what would happen is the revisions will come back to finance and general purposes before it goes on to STC.
And that's for finance before it goes on to STBF as well.
STBF has a slower
Yeah.
track line and it's not tied into the preset.
No, but we may as well do it all at once.
17th of December and 21st of January.
Okay. Any further items relating to this, or have we finished that? We need to take a vote on that. That a decision required, then we take these amendments through. You're going to work up these amendments and these for discussion at the full STBF. Yep.
Agreed.
That's great. Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. Last item, date and time of next.
Can I just quickly ask, would you like anything circulated prior, like when it's been done?
I think it'd be very useful, but that'd be probably for both sets.
Yes.
Yeah, I think because of the interconnectivity, I think it's difficult to do from our side.
Yeah.
Okay, can we, sorry, I didn't note the proposed and seconded, I'm sorry. Proposed.
Second, yeah.
I propose we go on second.
Can I just say thank you to particularly the officers. We do it out of love of the job. You've done it in terms of supporting this tonight. It's been a slog, but
Yes.
it's very important because it sets the scene for the next 12 months of the next financial year.
Good discussion.
I endorse that, and thank everyone also for staying for so long this evening. It's been a bit of a haul, but I think we've got there.
I think we've made really good progress.
you.
I think we've made really good progress.
I think we have.
According to standing orders, meetings should be no longer than 2 hours.
Yes, exactly.
That's agreed.
First one was 2.5. Okay, date and time of next meeting, 7th of December, and
Yes.
thank you very much. Good night. Get lost.